Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Tomorrow's federal budget brings a promise of cost of living relief, which Labor claims will bring down inflation. Both state and Commonwealth chipping in, directly targeting energy bills.
Energy bills have sent shockwaves through family budgets for a year now. Tomorrow's federal budget bringing some relief.
We really want to see significant cost of living relief, particularly when it comes to energy.
It's understood low and middle income families, along with those on government support and small businesses, will receive a rebate. How much depends on where you live. Separate deals negotiated with each state and territory.
We make no bones about wanting the best deal possible for Tasmanians. We've been negotiating hard around this.
We've all been waiting for this announcement, so we hope that the budget really makes clear how that's going to be used.
Tasmania's contribution, $33 million. Still not enough for Labor.
But it doesn't mean the state government doesn't still have a responsibility here, and they can cap power prices for Tasmanian customers.
We can't imagine that fiddling around the edges is going to make the difference that Tasmanians demand.
The Macquarie Point precinct headlines the Tasmanian projects being funded. It's unclear how much other spending will head south. Many will be waiting to see if the previous federal government's commitments stay funded. The state's peak business body says the promised Tasmanian highway upgrades are critical.
That corridor between Burnie and Hobart is really important for our state. We need to work ongoing to improve that corridor. We look forward to the Bass Highway, which is really in a poor state in some areas, having a lot more money spent on it.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Greens have accused the Premier of running diversion tactics in state parliament to detract from furore over the Macquarie Point Stadium. They claim he's planned a ministerial statement asking members not to name public servants during question time at the request of Anti-Discrimination Commissioner.
We believe that members of parliament should be able to exercise parliamentary privilege and, where necessary, name public servants who have allowed themselves to be politicised.
The Premier's office was contacted for comment. A police operation on the state's northwest could last for days. A Sprayton man has been arrested, but details of what police spent the day searching for are scarce. Talia Jordan has more.
Members of the Special Operations Group stormed this car wrecking yard here at Sprayton this morning at daybreak. Dozens of officers spent the day combing through the area, a scene of destruction left behind at the industrial site on Kelsey Tier Road, searching car by car.
This one?
Yeah, we've done them all up. And collecting evidence by the bagful, drugs allegedly among what police were looking for, with the drug detector dogs on site and receiving lots of praise.
He's got a good pat, he's got his toy, so he's done well.
But the exact details surrounding the pre-planned operation have not yet been released. Nearby residents heard a number of loud bangs, which they say were louder than gunshots, around 6 a.m. A 41-year-old man has been taken into custody, and police say there is no threat to the wider community. Members of Tasmania Police are expected to spend the next few days at this site investigating. Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
It has been more than a week since a 14-year-old Tasmanian girl has been seen, and now Tasmania Police have serious concerns for her safety. The last sighting of Cheyenne Lee Tatnall was on Launceston's Henry Street Bridge on April 30, heading towards Ravenswood around 8:30 p.m. A plea from police for dash cam vision has been issued.
We've done some review of CCTV, which has indicated some cars that we're looking at.
Police say the teen hasn't been on social media or accessed her bank accounts and have labelled the search area as difficult.
We've had air search in there at the moment and drones. Foot search isn't out of the question. We've had boats in there, we've had divers. We might revisit that during the middle of the week where there's going to be a very low tide.
Cheyenne was wearing a light coloured top, bike shorts and potentially red shoes. If anyone has come across personal items in the area, they're asked to contact police. A 61-year-old man has been seriously injured after being hit by a car this morning. The man was walking near the Northwest Regional Hospital around 6:30 when the incident occurred. The driver of the vehicle was not physically injured and is assisting police with their inquiries. While royal coronation events may have wrapped in the UK, the celebrations continued at Government House in Hobart today. Many gathered in honour of the new King and Queen, marking the historic occasion in style.
A reception fit for a new King and Queen. King Charles III and Queen Camilla were honoured at Government House. Around 100 people made the trip from across Tasmania to be part of the proceedings.
A major step in history. Most of us my age and younger have known only one monarch, and to see the change from Queen Elizabeth to King Charles III, really it's a very big historic event.
Today saw a heartfelt speech from the Lieutenant Governor, followed by a performance from the Australian Army Band of Tasmania. Many prominent names filled in for the Tasmanian Governor, the Honourable Barbara Baker, who attended Westminster Abbey in person, each with their own story to tell.
As a small boy, I saw Her Majesty and Prince Philip arrive at the wharf in Hobart on the Gothic, from the Gothic, Royal Yacht Gothic. Later in 1963, I stood at the gates here of Government House and watched as the Queen and Prince Philip drove in.
And it wouldn't be a true royal celebration without some fancy treats. Today's event featured Tasmanian abalone and, of course, a coronation quiche. Many hope the crown will inspire the royal couple to revisit the Apple Isle following their last visit in 2012.
I look forward to a visit from King Charles III. I must say I've been very fortunate to, on 2 occasions, meet him as Prince of Wales on his visits here.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Concerns have been raised about proposed changes to how police surveillance data is managed. The government is looking to change the laws in the wake of the Risdon prison recording scandal, but one MP believes the impacts haven't been properly considered.
Revelations last August at a bugged Risdon prison room recorded lawyer-client discussions prompted a review into Tasmania Police. However, it was later announced new laws were needed to allow the inquiry access to data. The bill is before Parliament, with one MP raising concerns.
I don't believe we should ever look at eroding privacy protections in our laws without really thinking about the full impact.
Ms Webb says it removes certain protections on information gathered through surveillance devices, calling the bill a knee-jerk reaction. She wants a full inquiry into the matter.
There's a beefed-up investigation into that Risdon bugging, and that would be legal under our laws. We wouldn't have to make changes just for convenience.
The Lawyers Alliance warns senior officers might be left in the dark.
Expand what the police can do with information in their possession. Future commissioners won't be able to remain on top of where all of that information is going.
The Police Minister says the update will improve accountability.
So that in the future we're able to do these transparency reviews as well. So our government hasn't been afraid to make legislative changes.
Also praising the force for improving its handling of sensitive material.
And we've continued to make really strong gains, can I say, in terms of the way that we approach Tasmanians' data through Tasmanian Police.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Labor is calling on the state government to financially support a Tasmanian food bank on the brink of shutting. Waterbridge Food Co-op will close in June if it can't secure extra funding. In the 6 months to January, the centre provided more than 9,000 meals to the community.
We have community members saying, I don't know how I'm going to eat if you guys close. Please don't close, I'm going to starve if you're not here.
To make sure that prioritisation of food security and access to nutritious food is funded appropriately in the budget.
The state government says it wants to support those in need and is financially backing the food relief sector. With Team Tasmania set to join the AFL, the big dilemma facing die-hard footy fans is whether they can make the switch from their old club to the new. We asked 2 of the state's most passionate supporters if they're willing to swap allegiance.
At the home of Tasmania's most rusted-on Collingwood fan, Darren Bishop's world is in black and white, and Tasmania's entry into the competition won't change that.
I'll stick with the Pies because it's in my blood, and I can't envisage myself ever barracking against Collingwood.
That's not to say Darren isn't a full supporter of Tasmania joining the league. He'd even signed up to the original 90s campaign, urging the public to get on board.
You'd like to see all the clubs do well, apart from Carlton, obviously.
But for Tasmania's biggest Giants fan, his arm could be easier to twist.
I just don't think you can be generations long Tasmanian and have Tassie come second. I think we're going to have to say family before friends.
Rick D'Souza has the rare chance to be a foundation member of 2 clubs. He hasn't made his mind up yet, but he hints at a switch from orange to bottle green.
I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Tasmanian. I had some time interstate, but we're proud to be home. It's either walk forwards or look back.
But for fans who can't quite change colours, the bonus will be seeing their club play in the Apple Isle far more often. And in Collingwood's case, it'll be for the first time ever for premiership points.
23,000 seats, getting in there is going to be the issue. I probably have to park outside the ground for the week before it.
Meaning there'll be cheers for all Tasmanians, regardless of the jumper they're wearing. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A new weapon has been unveiled in the fight against MMG's controversial mining project near the Tarkina rainforests. A book by the Bob Brown Foundation about the critically endangered swift parrots is set to be placed on every relevant politician's desk with hopes of stopping the proposed tailings dam.
We know that tens of thousands of people have contacted Tanya Plibersek, our Federal Environment Minister, to please say don't go ahead with the MMG mining lease.
The book features photos of the species in their natural habitat and claims the birds have been spotted near the site. New police forensic science instruments are aiding in the fight against crime. It's hoped they'll make for quicker and more accurate results and potentially solve some of the state's coldest cases.
At Forensic Science Service Tasmania, whirring state-of-the-art tech is setting about solving crimes. New DNA identification tools and toxicology analysis machines have been installed as part of a $3.7 million upgrade.
Traditionally, the DNA process has been a very hands-on manual process, and the robots now automate that process for us. The major robot that we have can handle 96 samples at the same time.
And also, it's good for the health and safety of the scientists who do the work, because it does involve, if you're doing it manually, the use of a lot of hazardous chemicals.
The team here receives 20,000 requests a year for forensic analysis, with half of those DNA related.
So certainly the robotics frees up scientists' time, less hands-on and more reporting time doing what the humans do best.
Quicker and more accurate results tipped to cut down any backlog.
The more accurate those measurements are, the greater chance that we can get the best result out of them.
But this will also enable at the back end, if we can gather DNA from some of these crimes, that enables us to push forward and get a better justice outcome.
The new tech could even lead to some old cases being solved.
So when the new instruments come fully online, we will be going back through cold cases and rerunning those. The greater sensitivity of the DNA instrument may provide some opportunities there.
New hope for some unsolved mysteries. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's AFL team is about to clear its first hurdle. Warner Brothers, which owns the commercial trademark to Tasmanian Devil, has announced it will allow the AFL to use the nickname. In a statement, the studio says it appreciates the league's respect for its registered rights and looks forward to a happy solution shortly. Now for a look at the Cripps TSL Player of the Year votes after round 5. Declan Chugg joins the vote-getters after a best-on-ground showing for the Northern Bombers against Lauderdale. A green light for Clarence's Sam Green, 3 votes in the 20-point win over Glenorchy. And Elijah Reardon was best on for Kingborough in the side's boil-over at Windsor Park. Reardon's teammate Jack Tompkinson remains out in front on 9 votes. North's Alex Lee is on 5. Glenorchy has turned its attention to a blockbuster NPL clash this weekend. Days after being bundled out of the Lacko Seljack Cup, the Knights got back to their winning ways over Clarence. Their next task is reigning Premier Devonport at Valley Road, a clash players are relishing.
Hopefully we can steal some points off of them, but yeah, we're going to start training today, come with the right mind and focus, and hopefully we can get a result on the weekend.
In the WSL, South Hobart will make the same trip up the highway. Undefeated after 6 rounds, the ladder leader says it will be a must-win match.
We have to win, especially against a team like Devonport. If we
drop, that it could compromise our chance to win the league.
Devonport sits second on the table with only goal difference separating the two teams. Jed Beaton has slipped to second in the Pro MX series. The Tasmanian was in an arm wrestle most of the time, rising from 7th to eventually finish 4th in the last race. He's still in good stead overall, having won the previous round in Wodonga. Tassie diver Emily Maney is back on top in the platform in Montreal, diving from 10 metres. She finished 8th at the Sports World Cup, scoring just below her personal best at last year's Commonwealth Games. And Stuart McSwain's run into early trouble in the Diamond League series. He pulled out around 700 metres into this morning's 3,000 metre race. McSwain's been battling hamstring issues leading into the event. He has 3 weeks to recover before his next race in Morocco. Hopefully smooth sailing till then. Kim?
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie recorded 16 today. Launceston, Devonport, Friendly Beaches and Campania all on our top of 17. A pretty cold start. Grove, Bushy Park and Tunnock all beat Lyowini to the low of -4. But later most temperatures were close to average. King Island, Wynyard, Low Head and St Helens all 16. Flinders Island and Strawn 15 degrees. A few showers did extend from the west across central and southern regions today. Mount Reid the top rainfall with 15 millimetres. A spiral band of cloud is just off the New South Wales coast as low-level cloud lies to our west. Another low has cloud off Perth. Tomorrow the high pressure system seems to have all of the nation just about covered apart from that trough over the west. But as it's centred to our northwest, we'll still have cool west-southwesterlies across us tomorrow, increasing up to 25 to 35 knots over the west and south. Gale warning there from Wineglass Bay around to Low Rocky Point. Strong wind warning for waters from St Helens Point to Wineglass Bay and also from Low Rocky Point up to Flinders Island. Tuesday for Hobart, a top of 15, a mid-morning shower or two. 15 the high for Adventure Bay, showers for Tarraleah, 10 the top. Launceston cloudy, 16 the maximum, 17 for Devonport, bit of cloud for Bridport with 16 the high as well. 15 for Burnie and cloudy, a few showers for Strawn and Marrawar, 15 as well. And for the east tomorrow, 16 for St Helens and Swansea, 17 for Whitemark on Flinders, fine over the east. Here's Wednesday's forecast, another shower over the west and far south, clearing in the evening, fine elsewhere after another morning frost and fog. More fog and frost to start Thursday as well, a fine day to follow apart from possible late showers over the northwest. And on Friday a few showers on the way, however not much getting to the east of the state. 25 in Perth, but with showers increasing tomorrow. A shower or two in Adelaide and Melbourne. -2 to kick the day off in Canberra. Sunny weather for Sydney, Brisbane and points further north. Cloudy conditions at the moment. Hobart, currently 11 degrees, 12 right now in Launceston. Clear evening so far in Devonport and currently 12 degrees. Kim, what do you make of all that?
I make that the sun has gone. Thank you very much, Murph. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with news breaks. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.